Christ is king, it's where we belong. Stay with the dream, don't lose your way. Right way's the fire that'll light the day. Keep it simple, let the moment arrive. 3-8 trap keeps the hope alive. Hold on tight till the signal's near. Right way's the trail, we're breaking through fear.
Good morning, fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for October 9th, 2025. Well, I hope everyone had a great evening and ready for another crazy day in the market. Boy, there is some really good news out there this morning, though. Apparently, there is a deal for a ceasefire to end the war between Israel and Hamas. Apparently, by Monday, all of the hostages will be returned, and the process of, getting back to a semblance of normalcy over there will begin. So, very interesting situation here this morning. If we take a look at what happened last night in the markets, we have Asian markets mostly higher with the Nikkei zooming, but Nikkei zoomed up 845.45 last night, 1.77%. Australia was higher by 2220 or 0.25%. Hong Kong was down 76.87 or 0.29%. We had South Korea up 93.38 or 2.70%. We had India up 135.65 or 0.54%, and Shanghai was up 51.19 or 1.32%. Hey guys, I just wanted to make mention. I had a comment yesterday about the static screen here while I'm running through all of this data. I just want to let everybody know that I move pretty quickly through lots of different sites to pull all this stuff together. It would be really distracting if I'm trying to pull screens in and out and flip through that. So I try to do this pretty quickly first thing. If I could find a way to get all this data on one page, I would share it on the screen. If we take a look at European markets this morning, right now we have the DAX up 87.48 or 0.36%. The FTSE is down 33.71, 0.35% lower, and the CAC is up $16.24 or 0.20% this morning. U.S. futures this morning, well, we're pretty flat. The Dow futures at the moment down, Dow futures at this very moment exactly flat, and it just ticked down by $2. The S&P 500 futures is down $3.50, and the NASDAQ futures down $23.75 here this morning. Obviously, Congress failed to reopen the government again yesterday. So we are, what is this, the 8th or 9th day, I think 9th day in the government shutdown. Let's take a look, maybe 8th day, entering the second week. Let's take a look at what's going on in bonds here this morning. Bond prices, little bit of mix in there, but honestly, they're holding in there pretty stable right now and just a slight bit lower. 2-year bonds are at 3.59%. That's like 1/10 lower from the high. The 10-year bonds at 4.12, that is 2 or 3/10 lower from the high we have seen recently. And the 30-year bonds at 4.71, that's about 4/10 lower than what we have seen here lately. Now, as a result, if we take a look at the U.S. dollar, we still have that U.S. dollar creeping higher here in this upside move. You can see this nice push to the upside. A lot of resistance right in there, finally gave up. And if this can hold up in here and hold along that trend, we might see some more upside there in the US dollar. So keep an eye on that, or at least at the moment, showing a little bit of strength. Now, if I look at dollar futures at this very moment, we're only up 1/10 of a cent. So it's not like we're, just flying here, but it is nice to see that we're holding a little bit of green. Now, if we take a look at those precious metals here this morning, they are moving slightly lower after zooming moves here the last few days, gapping and running to the upside. Gold right now is down $12 an ounce at $4,058.50 an ounce. So keep an eye on GLD here this morning. Silver is also a little bit lower here today. Let's see, silver futures at the moment down 32 cents at 48.66 an ounce on silver. Copper is still moving higher here this morning. COPX minor here still moving higher. In fact, if you look at like Freeport FCX, it's also been zooming straight back up after that substantial fall. They had a not a minor, but a severe mining problem in one of their facilities and gapped the stock lower, but boy, it's running straight back up here today. And copper this morning is up just over 9 cents an ounce. If we take a look at platinum, boy, we're not slowing down there yet. Platinum is up $2.20 an ounce, or 0.13% higher. And this palladium, just absolutely remarkable, up $38.90 an ounce here as it continues to gap and stretch. What an amazing run there on palladium. Let's take a look at what's happening in cryptos here this morning. Well, those cryptos are having a little bit of a rough morning. IBIT this morning down $1,416 a coin, 1.13%. We've got Ether moving lower here by 163.36, 3.64% lower here this morning. And Solana is also down $6.41, down 2.80% here this morning. So right across the board in those cryptos here today. Let's take a quick look at what's going on in oil futures. And if we take a look at USO pulling back here, trying to pop up early here this morning, but right now moving lower. Oil futures at this moment down 35 cents at 62.20 an ounce. Brent crude is 65.89 an ounce, and natural gas continuing to fall here this morning slightly by about 2 cents. So keep an eye on that. So what does all that mean for the day? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at these index charts, see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, we want to look at these charts for what they are, not for what we want them to be. We want to shake off that bias and really take a clear look at what's going on in these charts. So first off, here in the diamonds, boy, there just really isn't any way you can look at this chart bullishly, but we are we're stuck. We're absolutely stuck at the moment, and that's not a big surprise. It's very common for wide range chop as we wait for the next round of earnings. So we are going to get a little bit of those earnings here this morning to see if we can inspire the market. But taking a look at this, holding support in here in that chart every single day has been some kind of a whipsaw here lately in the diamonds. So if the bulls can find inspiration, well, you can see it really wouldn't be. We just got to break above there to get a record high here, record high close in the diamonds. And if we can pop right on through these areas here, well, easily we could see blue sky above in the diamonds. If the bears were to have anything to say, you can see we've tested down here several times trying to break down through this area of support. Just not enough energy in those bears. So if the bears do find something in here to get a little bit energetic about, then pushing down through this area here is where we'd be watching. And I don't think just popping down through there would be a major concern. It would raise a little bit of worry. I think we would have to fall through this area and actually take out this low before we really got really concerned about the diamond. So still got a long ways to go in here for that, and the bears just don't seem to have any kind of answer here, at least so far. If we take a look at the SPY, new record highs yesterday, continuing to stretch up. I do think this is a concern because as we continue to stretch up here in the market, we continue to see breadth weakening. So very interesting, but new record highs here on the SPY. So if the bulls can continue to push here today, and every reason to believe they can, we can push on through and have even more record highs in the SPY. If the bears were to have anything to say here today, maybe pushing back to retest this area right there where we got that little bit of support would be the first level to be watching. Breaking below that, then we'd probably start progressing on down to see if we can test this level of price support in the chart. And breaking down through there would probably raise just a little bit of concern here. But again, I don't think we really start to feel some pressure here in the SPY unless we break down below some of these levels and actually take out these two tails in here. So we've got a lot of movement in there on the SPY before we get really concerned. Let's take a look at our QQQ. Now our QQQ, also new record highs. So if the bulls can continue to find inspiration here in big tech, and that's mostly what it was yesterday, is the tech giants moving us up, while a lot of stocks just kind of languish sideways to down. We could take a look at this and push right on through that high of yesterday, and we could see blue sky above very, very easily in the Qs. Breaking back down, we've got a little bit of price support right in there that we could keep an eye on, and then just progressing back down. If we were to take out yesterday's low here in the QQQ, that reversal might bring a little bit of concern in the market, and it would really raise the level here if we break through that area of price support in the chart. And just keeping in mind, if we continue to fail through here, more and more concern would be raised in the market on the Qs. If we take a look at our IWM didn't falter here. We came back down and retested this support early in the day yesterday in the whipsaw. Push back up, you can see closed at a new record high close in IWM, and looking good. So if the bulls can continue to find inspiration here and follow through on this, let's see if we can break on out here and have blue sky above in IWM. If, however, the bears were to have anything to say, pushing back, I would watch this area right here first. Cracking down through there, I think, could bring us into a retest of this area of price support. Remember, this line here is the all-time high breakout in IWM. So breaking back down below there would raise a little bit of concern. But as I've said before, I think we're going to have to progress past this area here before we see any major worry coming into the market. Let's take a look at our VIX. Now our VIX did pull back yesterday, and pretty nicely, pulling back. Not truly a bearish engulfing candle in there on the VIX, but what you do want to make note of is we're still holding this little upside run here in the VIX. So we're still elevating are still elevated here in the VIX as we're making new record highs in the market. So kind of keep that in mind. If the bulls have any inspiration today, we really need to see them break this back down. With new record highs coming in the market on a rising VIX, it sets us up for those big whipsaws. It sets us up for straight up reversals and quick whipsaws in the market. So be careful here. As I continue to say, stay with the upside trend, but be careful chasing already extended stocks. If that sentiment were to shift, I would look for some big point moves to the downside to potentially come in quickly. So watch that carefully. Now, if the bears have anything to say here in the market and we get that big push in here, well, we're going to be watching this area. Obviously, we've tested this area up here many times recently and just haven't been able to break through that. So breaking through here could be significant if the bears have anything to say. Our T2122 T2122 indicator had a nice little bounce back up yesterday. You'll want to notice that we're still below 50% here in T2122. But if the bulls can continue to find inspiration here, that still gives us a big upside opportunity in here for those bulls if they can find that energy. And we've really been lacking in true momentum or energy here in the market, which is pretty common during the blackout period. If the bears have anything to say, well, that pop back up, open up a bigger opportunity for a pushback by those bears. So keep a close eye on that if those bears get going here today. Our T2108, as we were making record highs yesterday, we did move up in T2108 here eventually, but it wasn't significant, as you can see. Still below 45%. At one point in the day, we were down here below 40%. So bouncing back up was a good thing here. If the bulls can continue to find that inspiration to push higher, let's see if we can get up here and retest some of these resistance levels in the chart right up in here around 45%, and then pushing back up to see if we can maybe break through this recent downtrend here in T2108. If the bears have anything to say, well, once again, keep a pretty close eye on that 40% area. A failure there, if we close in below there, then I think we have that chance that we could be moving down toward 30% to that next area of price support in T2108. T2107 has been holding up much better, percentage of stocks above the 200. You can see we did at one point, we were pushed down below this low, but that bounced back up and a strong surge in the tech giants yesterday helped that push back up here. So watch that closely. If those bears have anything to say, we'll be watching that area for a potential break. And getting below 50%, remember, is again a little bit of a psychological level in the market. If the bulls can find that inspiration here today to continue to push to the upside, well, perhaps we can break through this resistance right in here, pushing on through in T2107. Our T2101 is where the real major concern lies. As we stretched up and made new record highs in the diamonds, or in the SPY, the QQQ, and IWM, our breadth continued to fall. Our participation rate continued to fall yesterday, looking not so healthy overall here, as you can see. So it is a unique situation to see us making new record highs in the market with such a divergence in market breadth. Something will break here eventually, and when it does break, I do expect some big moves. Now, those moves could be up or they could be down. So be prepared for some volatility here in the market if that were to occur. If we take a look at our economic calendar here for today, well, we've got just a little bit on here to pay attention to. First thing this morning, we're going to be hearing from Jerome Powell. We also have a jobless claims in here, assuming we're going to get the number. And jobless claims, we may not get the number, but their consensus is looking for 235,000 on those claims. We've got Jerome Powell then speaking at 8:30. We've got Bauman in here twice right after that will be speaking. Wholesale inventories will be out. This is a preliminary number, looking for consensus of a negative 0.2 in here on those wholesale numbers. So wholesalers doing a pretty good job keeping those inventories low. We've got a natural gas report, some bond auctions in here, and more Fed speak. There's a 30-year bond auction later in the day. Barr, Bauman, daily at the end of the day here after the market close, and the Fed balance sheet. Looking into Friday, pretty light day with Goolsbee, consumer sentiment number. We've got Baker Hughes, more Fed speak, and that Treasury statement. So, yeah, keep an eye on those things here for the next couple. If we take a look at our earnings calendar today, well, we may be finding could find some inspiration, because we do have some notables here today for our market to react to. First off, we've got a Delta Airlines report. Delta moving up here this morning after reporting, pushing back up towards some resistance in the chart. Keep an eye on that. PepsiCo beat on earnings, also trying to push up just slightly here in PepsiCo. Keep an eye on that. We also have TLRY, little tiny guy, reporting here today. It just says, I don't know when they reported, it just says before the open. So I don't think it has reported in here, but keep an eye on that today. We also have BYRN. That's trying to come up out of this bottom. Little pop here this morning on that. We've got Helena Troy. Gonna have to start that with an H. Helena Troy moving just a little bit lower here this morning after reporting. Keep an eye on that. And NEOG also reporting this morning. So those will be something to be paying attention to in the notables for today. Just keep in mind that this afternoon we also have a few. We have APLD that will be reporting. Keep an eye on that. We've got Levi Strauss in there, APOG, EDUC, ODC, and PKE. Those will be your notables for this afternoon that could provide a little bit of inspiration here in the market. So watch that carefully. You will want to make note that that is it for the week, though. There are no reports on Friday morning or Friday afternoon. So nothing in there to inspire after these reports on the earnings side of things. Let's take a look at a few stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube, and also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find the videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor, click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who does take the time to do that. I truly appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and you humble me every day with your kindness. I truly, truly appreciate it. Let's take a look at these stocks that could be setting up. And remember, everyone, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence. Be very careful in this market. And remember that volatility is one of those areas that we're going to have to keep a close eye on. Big point moves are still possible. We have seen, and I've been talking about this every day, to be watching for whipsaws. Be careful not to chase. Stay with the upside trend, but Be careful not to chase already extended stocks because of the potential of those big whipsaws. Let's take a look at a few of these. First off, when it comes to oil, APA is one of those better stocks out there in that oil sector right now. Really nice little rest and consolidation in here coming out to trend. I'd keep an eye on that. If we can catch a little bit of bullishness in that oil sector, I would watch this for that potential move higher. BP has also been trying to push back up here and showing a little bit of potential. This is one of those where we have that potential higher low, and at the same time we've got that potential lower high. So in a market like this, anything is possible here. We could easily see this pop on through or fail. So a lot of those patterns in the market right now with this uncertainty that we're dealing with. Keep a close eye on Qualcomm. Qualcomm is still holding in here at a pretty good move back up yesterday. Worth paying attention to it because it is a semiconductor, and everything semiconductor seems to be a buy, a non-stop buy, no matter what happens in the market. So keep a close eye on that pullback. If it bottoms right in here, we might see that stretch right on higher. FedEx, one of the members of RWO picked up FedEx yesterday, and this is an interesting looking chart in here. As you can see, we've got this nice little upside move, little pullback here to try and hold this support of that breakout here in the chart. Watch that closely. This has been quite a large basing pattern in here, as you can see on FedEx. Maybe this is ready to start turning back around and moving back to the upside. Worth paying attention to. Watch carefully in FedEx. Merck also had a pretty substantial pullback here to test some support levels here in the chart. Now, I can't tell you if we're going to hold this area right here of support or if it's actually going to be right in there. Watch that carefully. The stronger area of support would be right here. So watch that on this resting pullback. Maybe we can catch a little bit of inspiration here in Merck, start pushing on up. If you take a look at Moderna, Moderna is trying to break out of this bottom here in the chart. Nice little breakthrough up here. Rested, pulled back, had a good pop yesterday, ended up fading back, but I'd keep an eye in here. Maybe Moderna is going to start pushing on through to the upside. Worth paying attention to anyway. I think we're going to want to continue to pay attention to these solar stocks. First Solar popped my alert yesterday. Just ever so, just popped it and then drifted right back. Still in that resting consolidation in here. I would watch for Solar. May have to move out here to trend a little bit more, but watch for that next opportunity for that to pop through. And I did see Sunrun got an upgrade yesterday. Some analyst gave them an upgrade. Still in that nice little resting pattern in here. I would just place a price alert right up in here and wait, because it'd be a relatively low risk entry on this trade if that pops here in the chart on Sunrun. Really worth paying attention to, I think. If we take a look at those uranium plays, well, we had several pops and several pullbacks on these yesterday, but UUU continues to be a really nice looking chart. Popping through that alert, just trying to hold up in here. I would certainly keep an eye on that. URA is a very nice looking chart with rest. 3 days of rest after popping through that resistance up here, trying to get a little bit of bullishness this morning. Keep an eye on that. My UEC finally, after several attempts, it popped through and pulled back, popped through and pulled back, continued on higher there yesterday. And keep an eye on UEC in here. On the steel side of things, you know, this stretched up so much yesterday, I decided to take profits. We were in it for just a short time on this entry in here, up 62% on that trade, and we're just popped into that next resistance, and I'm feeling like the market is just so overextended here, I decided to take profits on it. But I will be watching CLF for any kind of little rest or pullback for the next entry into that trade. So keep an eye on CLF. Still looking very good. You might want to take a look. Steel Dynamics has had a really good move in here as well. Little rest, little pullback. Remember, if we're going to build out all of this infrastructure for AI, we're going to need a massive amount of steel. And so watch that carefully here. Steel Dynamics looking pretty good as well. You might want to take a look at Boyle in here. Boyle had that natural gas, a nice pop in here, but we've given up that trend here so far. So we need to see some kind of a hold in here. And then a bounce back through. Keep an eye on some of these stocks that are not ready for prime time yet, but we'll want to be watching. There's a massive amount of natural gas, liquefied natural gas capacity coming online here over the next, I would say 18 months, 2 years. And some of it's coming online here soon. That's just going to require huge amounts of billions of cubic feet of natural gas to liquefy to get them shipped to places like Europe that desperately need it. So watch that carefully here on some of these. May start turning around here eventually. You want to be taking a look at CNC here. Really nice. This was brought up by one of the members of RWO yesterday. Love this chart. Popping through that resistance, nice little resting consolidation in here. Doesn't report until 10:29. We've got a big gap in here that could be filled. So keep an eye on this guy. If that catches that energy in here in the market, that bullish energy, might be something to be watching and paying attention to. This BILI, unfortunately this one's gapping through the alert here this morning, just taking off like a rocket here this morning. Nice little bullish pattern trying to push on through. Watch for a potential entry. Sometimes you can get that strong pullback and then it pushes right back up here on the day. So watch that carefully in BILI. Still keeping an eye here on this EXE. EXE, good looking chart trying to rise up. They are a company they've done a lot of research on. They're very well positioned to take advantage of the new capacity coming on in liquefied natural gas. So watch this carefully to supply to all of these locations in the South, in Texas, in Louisiana. They are very well positioned for this, so keep an eye on that. Any little pop out of here, I want to pay attention to that on EXE. Liking this IoT here as well. IoT trying to come up out of this bottom. Nice little consolidation over here to trend. It's been pretty darn volatile, that is for sure. But if we can get a pop out of this basing pattern in here, I'd keep an eye on that here in IoT. Still liking the way GE is looking. GE popped that alert yesterday, kind of hanging in there. You can see it's still resting in here this morning, going to give you another bite of the apple on there. I'd keep a close eye on that as well. That's still looking good. So with that, everyone, hey, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. I want to wish you great results in your trading. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you right back here bright and early Friday morning. Take care. Be safe. Wish you all the best. Talk to you soon.
Black and white candles, my stars in the dark. Price is my king, got that fire and spark. Rideways my ranch on the trader's trail. Trading with heart where the profits prevail.